fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Gozyu Wolf from the brand new Action Hero line of figures from Bandai. So we have heard the term Action Hero used previously back with a line of figures for King Oger. Those were smaller figures, closer to 4-inch, probably around the size of the Udo figures they were also doing at the time. So don't confuse that line with this. These are definitely more 6-inch figures, and I would equate these kind of similarly to what they're doing with the Kamen Rider action figure line for Gabu. Well, I should say what they're kind of doing, because they made 3 for that line. It just seems to have stopped. But that's a topic for another day. So getting into this figure here, you can see very basic packaging. Kind of reminds me of the Ultra Action figure line with the kind of bubble-on card, where it's a very slim card and just kind of has, you know, as much as it needs to fit the figure in the bubble here. Very reminiscent of the Ultra Action figures, which those are kind of in the same scale. I'll bring one of those in later for a comparison. But yeah, you can see we got Gozyu Wolf here. It says Action Hero 01 Gozyu Wolf. You can see he does have the Tega sword here as an accessory. Looks pretty decent. There's not really much else to the packaging on the back here. Just kind of shows him in a couple poses. I believe this says that there are 16 points of articulation. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's crack this open and we'll take a closer look. So here is Gozyu Wolf out of the packaging. I think it looks pretty good. You definitely have a couple different shades of red going on here. You have kind of a brighter red for the helmet, then you have kind of a maroon for the neck and the arms, and then this area kind of underneath the arm gauntlet. Now, I'd have to go back and look at the show. I don't really know if that's how it's supposed to be. But either way, I still think he looks pretty good. Some nice gold here for the belt. Unfortunately, the paint stops at about the halfway mark. They do it around for the arms and the legs, which I appreciate, but, you know, the belt doesn't go around. The back is entirely black here. The gold stops around as well, so that's kind of a bummer, but from the front, he does look pretty good. Let's zoom out here so we can see this helmet. I think the visor looks nice and sharp. The gold trim here looks good, and they did continue that around the back, which I really appreciate. So you have the head on a ball joint. You can look down. You can look up. Tilt side to side. Well, I should say turn side to side. Tilt. Can't really tilt side to side all that much. But still a pretty good range of motion there. You have the arm that can go out to the side. Of course, you know, you have this kind of shoulder pad here that's molded in, so that does impede articulation somewhat, but you can still get a good range of motion there. And that is a ball joint. You have a bicep swivel elbow. You have a wrist swivel, but you can see just kind of normal hands. He doesn't come with any like alternate hands or anything to swap out or anything like that. But I do appreciate that he doesn't have the like 2 sets of fingers on hinges that all the Ultra Action figures have, because I hate those hands. Got a ball joint here in the waist. The way the hips work, you can kind of pull them down, so there's kind of a hinge like this, but then there's also a ball joint. So if I can get in here close, and I don't know how well it'll show up because it's all black, but you can see the ball joint right there, but then there's also a hinge for the actual kind of piece in the center there. And so you can, you know, bring that down to use the ball joint to get all the way out, like the kick to the side. And then when you go to kind of bring it down, then you kind of have to push it back up, so that there's not like a weird gap there like that. But I think it works. I think that works well. No thigh swivel. Bandai, really not a fan of thigh swivels. I don't know why. Ultra Action figures are the same way. Knee, little over 90 degrees there. And then you have a ball joint here in the ankle for his boot. So all in all, pretty decent in terms of articulation. I like it. Could use a little bit more, of course, and could use a little bit more paint. But at the end of the day, I think this retails for around 3,000 yen, maybe a little more, 3,300 yen, something like that, which at, you know, current rates right now converts to about $20, $22. So it's kind of in the realm of a, you know, little bit more basic 6-inch action figure you'd get over here. So I feel like it's, you know, pretty reasonable. Oh, I forgot, he does have the Tega sword. And this is actually painted pretty nicely. You have the gold there for the gauntlet. You can see the ring is molded in there. And then you have some nice metallic blue for the blade. And then you have the handle here, so we'll just pop this into his hand. go. And then we will pop that around. It should go. There we go. And that's pretty snug. I mean, once you kind of get that into position, it's not going to move. So, I mean, that's really nice. I appreciate that it really fits in there snugly. As I mentioned previously, if it had the Ultraman style of hands, he would not be able to hold that this well. So, I do appreciate that, but maybe if we can get him in kind of a cool attack pose. I'm not great at posing figures, but maybe something like that. There we go. Not too bad. Looks pretty good. To bring in some other comparisons here, this is the Kamen Rider action figure line that they're doing right now for Gabu. See, still nothing in the thigh. He does have bicep swivels. So they can do bicep swivels. We saw that over here, and we saw him with a bicep swivel. But still no thigh swivels. They just don't like them. I don't know why. But you can see these two. Now I have him crouching slightly more than I have him crouching, but still, they're about the same size. They will scale pretty well. And then if I bring in an Ultra action figure, let's see, I can have him stand up a little bit more. Maybe something like that. So they all scale pretty well together. Now, not that it makes sense for Ultraman to be the same size as Sentai and Rider, but they are all basically the same size. So it's kind of neat that, you know, finally all three of the big Toku properties are doing figures at the same size, and none of them have thigh swivels. I don't know. So I think it's a pretty cool looking figure. I feel like the price is right for $20. Could it use more paint? Of course, but that would drive the price up. Could it use an extra set of, you know, different posed hands? Of course, but again, that would drive the price up. So when you think about the fact that it's about $20, $22, I feel like it's kind of on par with figures that we see over here. And I'm just kind of interested. Like, again, I preferred the 4-inch scale. So the, you know, the action heroes they did for King Oger were definitely more my preference. They might have seen it as, why am I making a 4-inch action hero line while I'm also offering Yudo? Because they're kind of competing with each other at the same scale. But for someone like me who hates stickers, the action heroes were a nice alternative. They weren't painted the best. They actually skimped paint pretty much. But it was nice to just have something in that scale that I could take right out of the package and enjoy without having to put any stickers on. Now, as far as I know, Yudo is going to be available for Gozyuger. So if you do prefer that scale, you still have an option. And then they're going with this, I think because they're doing the Kamen Rider action figures and they wanted them to be the same scale. But again, for the price, I think it's a good figure. It could have more paint, but that would drive the price up. There is going to be a figure art, so if you're really a stickler for, you know, having the full deco, you could wait for the figure art, but then the figure art's probably going to be at least double, if not more. Sometimes they do the first offering a little cheaper to get you hooked. So it might be, you know, maybe around 40 or something like that, 45. But I would say it's going to be at least double, but you'll get probably more accessories, certainly a full deco. So it's just kind of what's in your budget. But for the price, I do think this figure is pretty good. I don't know if we're going to get the full team. I kind of hope we do, but it seems like they're sticking to mostly reds, because we know the next releases are Dama Mataro and Tyranno Ranger, and then they're also doing a figure for the like robot mode of the Tega Sword. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll see the full team, but I kind of hope they do. Like, I understand, do the full team, but then also do your reds from various past seasons. That makes total sense to me, but I do hope they do the full team. Only time will tell. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.